Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, we are going to be talking about 11th house in the water signs. So that is Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely keep listening. So the 11th house in astrology is all about your fans. It's all about your audience. It's all about the people who support you in this life. And it's all about your network and what you are sort of known for. So in your birth chart, your 11th house tells you all about your fans, your audience. If you're someone who's in the public eye, so for example, if you're an actor, you're an actress, you have a business, you're a business owner, you're someone who's sort of in the public eye, you're an influencer or a social media personality overall, then you're going to want to look at your 11th house because it shows you the type of audience that you attract and your fans and also what they want from you. So, looking at your 11th house will tell you all about this and, how to cater to your audience. And when you cater to your audience, it'll allow you to bring in more sales, it'll bring in more money, it will give you more clout, more followers, whatever it is that you want in terms of like your personal branding, your business, or whatever it is that you do. So, if you have Scorpio in the 11th house, that means that your 11th house is ruled by Pluto. Pluto rules over death, destruction, rebirth, and transformation. And so when it comes to your audience, first of all, your audience is mainly going to consist of people who are interested in the darker aspects of life and people who are interested in the truth, in the nitty-gritty. Right? They're not going to want anything superficial from you. They are not going to want you to appear as perfect. They want the real you because Pluto is very blunt. And so, they want to see the real you. These people, your audience, they are going to be people who are interested in things like astrology, spirituality, whatever religion that you identify with. They're going to be spiritual people, your audience typically. And they're going to be people who are interested in the deeper aspects of life, like psychology, things that are tantric, spiritual texts, like things that are deep and interesting and mystical. Those are the types of things that your audience is going to sort of want from you because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto rules over all of things that are like sort of hidden from the public. You have to sort of search for it. It has to sort of, if you don't search for it, it sort of finds you. The taboo things in life. Also, if you have this 11th house, you could also thrive in S work if you're into that. So that's definitely something to consider as well, because if you have this 11th house placement, you do have the potential to become somewhat of like a sex symbol. So like a model or someone who, does work like that, someone who shows their body, things like that, because Scorpio does rule over sex. So when you have this 11th house, that is something to be wary of. When it comes to sort of catering to your audience, they really like your eroticism. They really like the nitty-gritty parts of you. They like to really connect with you on an emotional level because Scorpio is a water sign and it is emotional and it is very deep. So understand with this, 11th house, do not be afraid to go deep. Do not be afraid to expose, the vulnerable bits of yourself to your audience, Do not be afraid to go within and share that with everyone. Matter of fact, if you're an introvert and you suddenly open up, everyone who supports you, they're going to like that about you, when you start doing it. People appreciate your dark side. People appreciate your controversy. That's another thing, your controversy. Like, I know Nicki Minaj, she has a Scorpio 11th house, and she's not afraid to be controversial. She's not afraid to say what's on her mind. She is very blunt in the way that she's also entertaining at the same time. So when you have Scorpio in the 11th house, it's very similar energy. Like, don't be afraid to be controversial. Say something that is a little bit different that will shake the tables, because Pluto is death and destruction, and people want that from you. They want to see you changing the rules. They want to see you breaking down barriers and creating new rules for yourself in business and in life in general. So like, what does this look like if you have a business, if you're an influencer or someone in the public eye? Well, if you're a business, try and do something that is frowned upon. Try and do something that breaks the rules almost, and that will intrigue people, and you will find your audience that way, and that will increase your sales and attract people to you, because Scorpio is the taboo thing. So once you tap into like the taboo subjects and things like that, people will be like, hey, I kind of like this person, like they're actually kind of interesting. Similarly enough, the Nicki Minaj reference, before being sort of vulgar in the media was popular, she came out with her music video Anaconda. Now, for the time, that music video was like, that was like the worst thing you could do, like as a female rapper, a female entertainer. But she wasn't really afraid of expressing herself in that light. She really shook the table that way. When she released that video, parents were terrified and hated it, and she was hated. That's another thing with this placement. You cannot be afraid to be hated, because understand that with Scorpio, Pluto, anything, hatred is going to come. And you have to understand, this is so similar to like a Gemini or Aquarius 11th house, but you have to understand that you have to be hated in order to be loved. That is the intensity of Pluto. The planet Pluto, it understands that without hatred, there is no love. And so at first, you'll start to realize when you start to do this, at first people are probably not going to like you. You're probably going to get hate. But then all of a sudden, you're going to reel them back in, because that's just how it works with this 11th house. So don't be afraid to shake the tables. Don't be afraid to do the thing that no one else is doing. Don't be afraid to break the rules, basically. And understand that sometimes, you most likely will be the villain, but you have to learn how to wear it as a badge and do whatever it is that you want to do, because that will always make you successful. Also, with this placement, the more nitty gritty, the better. So like, these are like the types of like social media personalities that post their what I eat in a day. They post their, apartment tours. They talk about their families. They talk about life in general. They talk about, all aspects of themselves. They show themselves to the world unapologetically, and their audience will appreciate that. Like, for example, like let's say you're promoting a product, and then you're showing your kitchen, and then you're talking about, your boyfriend, and then you're talking about your life in college. Like, these are the types of people who thrive at doing lifestyle content, because people really care about these things. Understand that, I forgot to mention your audience. They are going to be very obsessive when it comes to you, because Pluto rules over obsession. So they're going to be very obsessive. They're going to want to know about your life. You can't just suddenly disappear or have a social media break, because people will be looking for you. They will be searching for you. And if there's no answers, people are going to start a movement, most likely, and try and find you. They will search for you. There was a moment in like internet history of this girl named Marina Joyce where she literally disappeared, and people started looking in her videos and they thought that she was being abused, and they literally called the cops and started whole search parties looking for this girl. And I think at the end it got resolved, but that's a great example of Scorpio in this house. Like, it gives like very obsessive fans, very passionate fans who really care and want you to be okay and things like that. And so it's very similar. Nicki Minaj again. I'm just using her because I know she has this 11th house. But her fan bases, they're called the Barbs, and the Barbs are very much like this. It's just very aggressive, very obsessive fan base. Lorde is also a singer who has this 11th house, and her fans are the same way. So, if you have this 11th house, that's definitely something to look out for. That is definitely something to, look upon. Also, when it comes to sort of a business standpoint, you can totally tap into the luxury thing. because Scorpio traditionally rules over the 8th house, and the 8th house are all things hidden, things that are taboo, things that you can't really see. And so that energy is still there with Scorpio. And so you have to think of things that are very exclusive, things that are very hidden. Think like quiet luxury brands that aren't so flashy, but they're still pretty pricey. You know, that is more of the vibe of like Scorpio 11th house. So like if you're a business or something like that, make sure your products, your branding, whatever is super high quality, and it's just very exclusive and very limited. Like it can't be like abundant, you know? Like, well, I mean, I guess it could be, but make sure there's a certain aura of like luxuriousness, of like high class exclusivity about your work and whatever it is that you're doing, and you will attract an audience because your audience loves to feel luxurious. It loves to feel exclusive because Scorpio is very private. It's very intimate. It's very obsessive into itself. And so when that translates to like business, think of like high, quiet luxury brands like The Row or even Jacquemus. I mean, I know that's not quiet luxury, but if you wear a Jacquemus bag, and you go on the street, no one's going to know it's a Jacquemus bag unless you yourself know about Jacquemus. You know what I mean? Or like, I don't know, what's another quiet luxury brand? Like Margiela. Like no one is going to point out what a Margiela like tabby shoe is on the street if they don't already know what it is. You know what I mean? It's sort of that thing. Like it's sort of like a silent club, like if you know type of deal. So when it comes to business, when it comes to branding yourself, when you're a creator or something, you have to appear as exclusive, unavailable almost. You have to be very intimate into yourself. Another creator who is so good with this, she's actually a Scorpio. Her name, she's on TikTok. Her name is Alana Banana XOXO, or I think it's Alana Banana XO on TikTok. She posts about literature and things like that, but she almost never shows her face. And she just posts about her life and her books and things like that. And that is very Scorpio 11th house. You know, it's sort of like very exclusive, very quiet, things like that, you know? And she writes books as well, but they're sort of hidden in her Patreon. And that's so interesting. So, you know, you have to sort of bring, you know, that vibe to yourself when you have a Scorpio 11th house. Very exclusive, very luxurious, but also very authentic and very true to yourself. Because, you know, your audience, your fan base, they are going to be the same way, and they appreciate this about you. Like with you, it's like you're building a silent army. Think of it that way. If you have Cancer on the 11th house, then understand that when it comes to marketing yourself, when it comes to catering to your audience and having fans, understand that everything is going to be very emotional. And with this 11th house, you cannot be afraid of your emotions and expressing them, because it's actually what your audience, your fans, your supporters, it's actually what they're asking of you. And so this looks like, if you're like a creator or someone who's in the public eye, this looks like filming your process, you know, and sharing your emotions with people, sharing your emotions with a very large audience, you know, crying on camera, going live literally every single day. These are the people who can literally go live every single day and have people love them because they connect with them on an emotional level. These are the people who can literally pump out YouTube videos full of vlogs of their life, sharing their emotional process because their audience connects with them. These are the people who bring that mother energy to their audience. So when it comes to your audience, they like your nurture. That came out so weird. They like it when you nurture. They like that mothering energy, that sort of, or if you're like a male or like you identify as a man or something, they like that fatherly sort of caring energy from you. Your audience, your fans, they like it when you care about them. They like it when you see the tiny details. They like it when you are very charming and nice and calm. and they will cherish you for this. So if you're a business, this looks like sharing literally your life story. Like, let's say, I don't know, you have like a muffin business or something, and you say something like, well, this was my grandmother's recipe from 1925. She immigrated to America, and she literally walked here, and something like that. Something that makes someone cry. You have to really tap into the emotional aspects of things to sell your work, your products, your business, yourself as a brand. You have to connect with people emotionally for them to actually care about you, because that is what they're asking of you. Cancer is ruled by the moons, and the moon rules over our emotions, and it also rules over women and children, and basically the idea of mother. And so you have to expand on your ability to nurture an audience. You have to expand on being emotional with someone. Again, filming the progress, telling your life story, crying on camera, going live, connecting with people that way, being very charitable, visiting homeless shelters, that's just an example, but, being very charitable that way, giving back to your community is also a big one. Settings like that. If you're an influencer, someone in the public eye, this could also look like hosting a lot of giveaways, giving back to your audience, always giving, nurturing your audience, being sweet, being kind. People really like the kind and sweet sort of vibe from you. Like even with your branding, like whatever products that you're selling, make sure there's like a nice note attached to it. Make sure your business cards say something nice on them. Make sure it's all very mothering, very sweet, very caring, very emotional, very intimate, because that is sort of that Cancer energy. Also, with this 11th house, you have the ability to become a household name. So you could become very popular in whatever it is that you're doing, and you could become like I said, like a household name, like a go-to. Like if you are a business or an influencer, like let's say you're trying to promote a product, and all of a sudden when you promote this product, it's everyone's go-to. Like let's say it's like the Dyson hair wrap or something. The moment you say, oh, this Dyson hair wrap is amazing, suddenly everyone's like, what's your favorite hair wrap? Oh, it's the Dyson hair wrap. Why? Because so-and-so said so. It's sort of like you're the go-to. You're like the Amazon of everything, right? So it's sort of that energy with Cancer, 11th house. Also, your fan base is very emotional. They're very connected, and they're very attached to you. That's the thing. So like if you're someone who has a lot of eras, and you're someone who likes to change a lot, maybe your audience will not like that. Like let's say you had a certain style, but you grew out of it, but your audience is still attached to that version of you. This is where you have to separate your personal identity from the identity that you create within your own brand. Or like, when it comes to business and things, you have to separate the two, because your audience is very attached. They are very emotionally attached to you, the idea of you, the essence of you. So you have to separate who you are intimately, when you're alone, from who you are to the world and to other people. Because if you combine the two, people are going to become attached to one version of you, and they aren't going to be able to let go of that, and they're going to become angry with you because they'll think you're being fake or you're being something when you're not, when in reality you're just evolving as a person, unfortunately. So make sure you do that. And if you are changing, literally just create a new business or a brand. You have to, if you're going to do that, you have to make sure you're very certain within yourself, because your audience, they are very attached to whatever it is that you create and what you put out. Anything having to do with women or children or emotions or being youthful, mothering, even culinary things like cooking and etc. are going to be things that you're going to be very good at. So when it comes to putting out products, or when you're thinking of things to be sort of known for, those are things to consider, because all those things are ruled by Cancer. Last but not least, Pisces. Now, if you have Pisces in the 11th house, this means that your 11th house is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is the planet of dreams and illusions and fantasies and your subconscious mind and all things that are hidden. And so, when you have Pisces in the 11th house, that means your network, your fans, your audience, the people that cater to you, the people you cater to, the people who cheer you on, they're going to have this sort of Neptunian energy to them. So they could be sort of hidden at first. Like, okay, I'll break it down. With Neptune energy, it is sort of something that you have to develop and craft on your own, right? So it's not the energy of your network or whatever, since it has Neptune energy, understand that Neptune energy is not born. Neptune energy is created. So it's not as blunt as Scorpio. It is not as emotional as Cancer. It is not as flamboyant as Leo. Neptune is sort of, you have to create the illusion on your own. It is whatever you make it. That is why Neptune energy is so confusing to most people who do not understand it. And so when it comes to your 11th house, this is basically your business, right? This is like your personal branding. These are the products, the things that you put out to the world. And this is also your audience. When it comes to this, you have to understand a key factor in growing your audience, growing your brand, your personal brand, leveling up yourself in the public world. You have to believe in yourself. So Neptune rules over dreams and the subconscious mind. So you have to believe in whatever it is that you're doing. And you have to be so very creative in whatever it is that you're doing to a point where it doesn't even make sense, right? You have to have some aura of mysticism, some aura of fantasy, some aura of faith in believing in yourself. And that way it makes you more alluring. It makes you more attractive to other people. Pisces is also ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is worldwide. So Jupiter doesn't attract just one type of person. It sort of attracts everyone, right? Because Jupiter is expansive. It is abundant. It reels everyone in. I would urge you to watch the Sagittarius 11th house video because it is a very similar energy. So it also applies to you. So when you're done watching this, go watch the fire sign Sagittarius 11th house video that I uploaded earlier. But so since you have this energy of Jupiter and Neptune, whatever you do has to have a lot of faith and creativity, and it has to be inspiring. You have to feed people's minds. You have to touch people's souls. And to do this, you cannot be fake. You cannot be overly obsessive over what it is that you do, like a Virgo 11th house or Scorpio 11th house. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in it, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're putting out, and you have to put your heart and soul into it. This is not the type of placement to where it's passive. Like Pisces here, mixture of Neptune and Jupiter, it is not passive. It needs your energy. So, for example, like let's say you wrote a book, right? And you want people to know about this book. You literally have to take your time with it, and you literally have to show people what this book means to you and inspire them and touch their hearts and souls that way, and use your creativity to fuel that, if that makes any sense. If you're a business, like let's say you're selling, I don't know, like fruit or something, you literally have to reach your audience and touch them in a way that makes them feel like they will die if they do not have these fruits. Also, Pisces is big on creativity. So when it comes to branding, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to catering to an audience, you have to bring your creativity to life in order to reach people. There's sort of like a dreaminess, an ethereal vibe, a mystical, magical vibe to Pisces that you just sort of have to incorporate into your business and your personal branding if you want to get sales, if you want to make money, if you want to get followers and things like that. You have to bring this creative element to life. A good example of this is Bella Hadid's soda company. I think it's called Keen. You can look at her company on Instagram, after you watch this. But it's a really good example of a Pisces 11th house. I don't know if she has this 11th house, but it's a really good example. So, I have to take a breather. So, with her soda company, her marketing and branding makes you feel like it's more than just a soda. It's very creative, and she brings it to life. And she makes it feel like drinking her soda is like out of this world, right? And it sort of takes you away a bit. And the way that she brands and markets it is sort of like out of this world. And, it makes you want to drink it because it's like it sort of takes you away. That's what I meant. That's what I forgot to mention earlier. Your audience, they want you to take them away a bit. They want to be relaxed a bit. They want you to take their mind to another place. They don't want you to ground them. They don't want your stability. They want creative inspiration. They want, sort of mystical beauty. They want an illusion. They want a fantasy from you. So you have to give them this. Another good example of this is Billie Eilish. I don't know what her 11th house looks like, but I do know that she has Pisces placements. A lot of her performances and a lot of her songs are some of them are very theatrical. Even some of her music videos on YouTube are very theatrical, and it sort of takes you away. It's very ethereal, and it makes the music more than music. Another good example of this is Melanie Martinez. She's an artist. All of her music videos take you away for a bit. And it's like when you're watching them, you sort of forget about the real world. It's that fantasy element of Pisces that your audience really craves from you. So this is when I say you have to be creative. There is no one way to express this type of energy because everyone's version of art and creativity looks different. But when it comes to you, you have to tap into this creativity aspect and become sort of like an aphrodisiac. You have to become sort of like this fantasy for other people. You have to create this haven for people, to escape to if you want to bring in sales, bring in money, bring in followers, attract attention to you and things like that. Because your audience, they want to escape. They want mental peace and things, and they want calmness when they look at you. They want a dream. They want a fantasy. So you have to deliver this to your audience if you want, to sort of attract them. It's less so about the product, and it's more about the way that you go about it and the way that you're marketing it, honestly, with this house. These are the types of 11th houses that can get away with a product that's maybe okay, mediocre at best, but the packaging, the branding, the marketing campaigns are out of this world. And it's like, wow, everything is so beautiful. I don't even care. Take my money. For example, some makeup companies, they don't really sell, they don't really sell the product in general. They just sell the packaging and the fantasy and the idea and concept of wearing the makeup. And they focus more on the creative aspect of branding and things like that. So when it comes to Pisces in this house, that's what your audience is sort of looking for. That is what they're asking from you. They're asking for an aphrodisiac. They're asking for an escape. They're asking for a fantasy. They're asking for something that is surreal, something that takes them away. And your audience in general, they're going to be very creative. They're going to be very spacey. They're going to be very... they just embody the energy of Neptune and Pisces. And anything having to do with the dreamy illusionist aspect is going to benefit you in terms of a career. So again, a writer, a makeup artist, someone who is taking something and transforming it. Because again, Neptune energy is what you do with it and how you create with it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this, and I can't wait to see you next time. Check out the link below if you want to read any ebooks about, I believe right now I have ebooks about like the 10th house published, but I plan on writing some more about the 11th house in depth. So yeah, definitely stay tuned, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time.